Now, the intense rivalry between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen was a huge step forward for a sport that had been criticised for being too predictable in recent years. The battle transported us back to 2016 with intrigue, controversy, and outright great racing around every turn. The intense nature of the race, on the other hand, may play a significant role in the longevity of Max Verstappen's career, who snatched victory from the jaws of defeat in the final lap of the season finale in Abu Dhabi. With that said, let's take a look at some of the factors that could affect the Dutchman's Formula One career and why Red Bull is understandably concerned. Red Bull chief Helmut Marko has admitted that he and the team are concerned about Max Verstappen leaving the sport too soon due to the intensity of his rivalry with Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen triumphed over his rival in controversial circumstances at the end of last year. Despite this, he appears to be exhausted as a result of his exploits on the grid last season. Hamilton and Verstappen regularly clashed over the course of the 2021 season, but it was the youngster who came out on top, defeating his more experienced and distinguished rival. The F1 world is currently waiting to see what happens with Hamilton, as the Stevenage-born racer's future in the sport is currently up in the air, and Mercedes concerned about his involvement as the new season approaches. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner believes Hamilton and Verstappen's ferocious desire to win boosted F1 as a whole last year. I think sport is all about competition, and when you've got serial winners, it becomes less attractive. So I think the fact that there was a big rivalry between the teams, between the two drivers, every Grand Prix there was very little to choose between the two of them. It was a fantastic year. It was the best year I think Formula One has had as a sport for probably 30 or 40 years. Given that Hamilton is the greatest threat to Verstappen, Red Bull can be forgiven for hoping the Brit will retire from F1. However, Horner recently stated that this was not the case and that the Mercedes driver should continue racing. I certainly hope Lewis will be around this year. He's still driving at an incredible level. The two drivers last year were in a league of their own, but ultimately it's his choice, it's his career, it's his decision, so I'm sure he will decide to do what's best for him, or what he wants to do, and that's none of our business. However, Marko has now admitted that Red Bull is concerned about Verstappen's career being cut short due to his fierce rivalry with Hamilton. We were all at the limit, and Max also said he couldn't stand such an intensity anymore. He still wants to drive for a while, but if that's the case every year, his career is limited. Such a reaction is understandable given the vitriol that has erupted in the weeks since the contentious result in Abu Dhabi, which has cast doubt on Hamilton's future in the sport. The 2022 Formula One season is set to begin on March 20 in Bahrain, but Mercedes is still unsure whether their star driver and 7-time champion will be on the grid. In less than 2 weeks, Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes will learn the outcome of an internal FIA investigation into the contentious 2021 season finale. With the Brit feeling disillusioned with the sport, the findings could be crucial to his decision to retire, which is still up in the air. Apart from his knighthood, little had been heard from Hamilton since his heartbreaking defeat until he appeared in a Mercedes promotional video earlier this month. This fueled speculation that he might rejoin George Russell for the 2022 season, but the outcome of the FIA investigation is still unknown. The FIA's findings will be delivered to the F1 Commission on 14th of February, and they will be made public in the days that follow. However, the FIA reserves the right not to publish the findings, which may aggravate relations with those who are dissatisfied with the way last season's title was decided. The scheduled date gives Mercedes a short turnaround time, as they plan to launch their new car on February 18th, ideally with Hamilton in attendance. Wolff refused to rule out the 37-year-old's retirement in December of last year, and no concrete evidence has emerged to suggest that he will return to avenge Verstappen's victory. Peter Beyer, the FIA's executive director of single-seaters, recently admitted that Massey could be fired once the investigation findings are presented. Another possibility is that Massey will share the role with someone else, or will be assigned to a small team of people with whom he will share responsibilities. After Horner and his Mercedes rival Toto Wolff both appeared to pressure Massey in the final stages of last season, changes to the way team bosses can communicate with the race director are set to be implemented as well. In terms of how the investigation fits into Hamilton's career, most pundits believe that it must produce solutions to make the sport fairer if the Brit is ever to return for a shot at a record-breaking 8th World Championship. Karun Chandok, a former Formula One driver and television presenter, believes Lewis' decision to return will be heavily influenced by the results of the investigation. My personal instinct is that he will come back. I think he showed in the last 4 races of last season his hunger to win, and his inherent speed has not dimmed at all. What he did in those last 4 races, the quality of driving those last 4 races was exceptional. It was just as good as anything from Lewis in the last 14 years, as long as he can come back in the right frame of mind. As long as the FIA can demonstrate to him that they've made changes and put mechanisms in place to make the sport a fairer sport for what Lewis perceives to be an injustice towards him, he'll come back. F1 reporter Craig Slater expressed a similar sentiment, stating that Mercedes wants to see something tangible from the report before the season gets underway. Mercedes believes the onus is on the FIA to deliver on the pledge they made before Christmas to investigate the happenings on that final lap. Come up with some findings. They want to see something tangible from that investigation, and they want to see it sooner rather than later. The longer this drags on, the longer we don't get a result to that investigation and some findings from the FIA in terms of how F1 is to conduct itself going forward, then the worse the Lewis Hamilton situation is. That's from a senior source close to that situation, which I think is significant. In contrast, Max Verstappen believes the season finale controversy has not tainted his victory in any way. I had a very good season, and I think I really deserved it. I've been really unlucky as well. People always remember the last race, but if you look at the whole season, the championship should have been decided way earlier. George Russell has replaced Valtteri Bottas as the Brackley-based team's number 2 driver, while Verstappen has been mentioned as a potential recruit for F1's most dominant outfit one day. But Marco insisted that the drama between the sport's top 2 teams this season has only widened the gap further, and he persuaded Verstappen not to jump ship. I don't think Max will leave us then. The events at Silverstone have left too big a crack, especially with Jos. I think that makes him less likely to switch sides. It appears that things are only picking up for the Dutchman, and all talk of a possible retirement will surely fade once the season begins. Verstappen was recently nominated for the Laureus World Sports Award for Sportsman of the Year. This puts him in the company of Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher, who have both been previously nominated for the prestigious award. When it comes to winning another award, he'll be up against some of the biggest names in the sports worldwide. Speaking on his official website, the 24-year-old thanked his fans for all their support. First of all, a big thank you to the media for the nomination of the Laureus Sportsman of the Year award. It's great to be nominated for this award after such an intense season. The biggest thank you goes to my team Red Bull Racing, who, together with Honda, gave me a winning car. As a team, we fought for years to improve and close the gap, and we finally succeeded. It's fantastic to be world champion. I also want to say a huge thank you to the fans who support me, because it's great to see the Orange Army around the world. When it comes to winning the prize, Verstappen will face stiff competition, with tennis star Novak Djokovic, who won 3 of the 4 Grand Slams last year, also nominated for the award. NFL legend Tom Brady has also been nominated, with the American recently announcing his retirement. Caleb Dressel and Eliud Kipchoge are also in the running after shining in swimming and long distance running respectively. Meanwhile, Verstappen and the rest of the grid will be preparing for another grueling season, with the new regulations posing a challenge, an emphasis on racing, and the possibility of multiple teams vying for the title. It's reasonable to anticipate that the new 2022 season will be more intense than ever. Thank you for your time. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and remember to click the bell button to be notified of future videos. And as always, please share your thoughts in the section below. So, will Max Verstappen retire sooner than people think? Are Red Bull's concerns justified? Which teams will compete for the championship the following season? What do you think the FIA investigation will reveal? We'd love to hear what you think.